Well, I mean, who am I to give advice about employees? So that's why I said in the video yesterday, I'm not giving advice, because I'm not qualified to give advice about employees. I'm just telling you what my experiences are with employees. Wet, rainy, ugly, and you know, it's not cold now, but today I got to kind of hang around close by because they're supposed to come and do the window today. This crack is just getting worse and worse, and you know, what I don't need is to get pulled over for a cracked windshield. I mean, you know, so I'm kind of just, well, at the end of the day, you know, when you're self-employed, you're in the wintertime and you do work like what I do, where, you know, I've made decent money in the last, you know, 3 or 4 weeks. In the last 3 weeks, man, I've made over $6,000. So that might not be a lot to a lot of businesses, but for me, solo, with what it cost me, it's pretty freaking good, man. And I haven't worked every day or nothing. Just you know, in 5 days, I made $6,000. 5 days of working. Oh, excuse me, 6 days of working, I made over $6,000. So that's enough to, well, and a lot of it's profit. There's not a whole lot of expenses in that. So I'm just saying. To me, that's, you know, in the wintertime, if you're solo like me, that's freaking wonderful. It really is, because you don't, I mean, well, and especially the way I plan too. Like, you know, all through the summer, I'm planning for the winter. I mean, just like all through the winter, I'm planning for the summer. You always got to stay a little bit ahead of things, man. You know, especially when it comes to the winter time, and if you're young in this game. If you're young in this game, I mean, the winter times can be brutal, especially if you're up north. Down here where I'm at, the winter times are not hardcore cold. There's no snow or anything, so you're not gonna be able to make a living down here in the you know, with snow removal. So with that being said, the mowing season is a lot longer than, say, up in Ohio or some of the places where they have snow removal and a lot of snow and a lot of cold weather. Their growing season up there is a little bit different than my growing season. My growing season down here in Georgia, it's every bit of 8 or 9 months of straight, just, you might have 90 days of winter, but you go from, you know, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and then, I mean, you're running into December still doing the yards. So 8 months of actual growing season where I'm at. So by that mere fact, all you got to worry about is 3 or 4 months where you don't have to worry about, well, you just got to make up for 3 months or so of really slow time, you know, where the grass ain't growing. But that's why I bought a skid steer, so I can, you know, well, I can do other jobs. So, and the jobs that I do are pretty lucrative. I got quite a few, well, I got 3 sod jobs as soon as the season kicks off. So first, one sod job is going to be pretty lucrative, with some grading, some drainage, a few things they want to do. So that's one sod job that I got, and it's a referral. And the other one is where me and the young buck took out a tree about, I don't know, it's been 3 months ago now, over in the neighborhood where we're going to be doing about 2 maintenance side, not a big job, but it'll pay good, and I ain't gonna have to, you know, just work lined up, you know, for off season. So, but yeah, so are y'all? I mean, is, you know, I guess this video is pretty much, you know, just a day in the life. You know, the channel's about really a day in the life of what I'm doing out here, and showing you guys that you don't have to have all this technical, you know, skills to run a business, or to have a business to where you can make really good and, you know, and not have to work a regular job, if you will. And I'm always getting, you know, flack from, you know, people that don't know no better. You know, one guy was saying, you know, I'm just gonna say it, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but when I bring somebody, let's get back to the employee thing. So when I bring somebody on, you know, everybody, and what's made me like this, and what's made me do things like this is, well, back to, you know, not wasting time. So when I bring somebody on, I'm not, they're not going to be driving a second truck, unless that was in the job description. But when I bring somebody on, and they're, you know, and they're telling me that they know all this stuff, and they know this and this and this and that, I mean, I don't even hear any of that. You got to show me. So best thing to do is just hop in the truck and let's go. And what I'll do, and I can't believe that, you know, other businesses don't pretty much do the same or something similar. If I bring them out, I'm not going to have them fill out a whole bunch of paperwork or anything when they come out the first day, because why would I do that and then only to find out they're not coming in tomorrow, or they're not going to work out or whatever? Why would I go through all of that? One guy come in the comments and said, well, if you pay cash and they get hurt, they'll own your business and then more. Well, I mean, are you saying that if I write them a check that they can't sue me? Is that what you're telling me? I mean, I don't understand what that has to do with anything. It's ludicrous, man, some of the stuff that I see some of the comments come up with. And it's obvious to me a lot of them are not in business when they make comments. You know, one guy comes in, he's kind of ignorant. He comes in, he says, well, a proper business is going to put them on the payroll from the day one. But they're not in this game. Think that, and if you want to, and people might not tell you like I'm saying. You know, they might not say, yeah, I'll bring them out here and just pay day labor and kind of see where they're at. People might not tell you that, but I will, because that's the truth. You day labor, and I'll bring you out as day labor. I'm not promising nothing to nobody that I ain't seen work, except for what I'll pay them for blah blah day or whatever. It's the only thing that I'm gonna, because if you ask them, they all know everything. So the conversation is really short. They don't need direction. So why do I want to, you know, keep going into all that? Because if they're telling a lie about their experience, then well, what else are they telling a lie about? How long are they really going to be out here? You know, 9 times out of 10, they ain't going to be out here very long. Most of them, you know, want to come out here, work a couple days, and then bam, they're trailer park rich, and now they're good for a minute, you know. And then other guys, you know, they'll last out here for a minute, and you know, I'll eventually put them on the payroll. I ain't putting nobody on the payroll on day one. I ain't gonna do it. We're gonna chalk that up to day labor. So, right, wrong, indifferent, whatever, you can spend your time. That's why I know this person's not in this game. Now, I ain't saying every business, but I'm talking about this game with, you know, the size business that I am. Now, the great big landscapers, they might, where they got, you know, 50 employees. But, well, I mean, who am I to give advice about employees? So that's why I said in the video yesterday, I'm not giving advice, because I'm not qualified to give advice about employees. I'm just telling you what my experiences are with employees. That's what I'm telling you. And if I were to bring somebody on tomorrow, right, I'm not gonna have him go through a whole lot of rigmarole about paperwork and all until after he works a couple of days, and I kind of see if it's something that he can do. And the way I pay, guys are usually, you know, they love it, right? But they're not qualified to make money like that. They're not qualified to get paid for performance and all that. So you have to, but you know, of course, in the beginning, when you hire them, they know how to do everything, and then you realize that they really don't. And you know, you have to figure out what they're good at, and do you have work that aligns with that. And in the wintertime, I don't have work that aligns with what I really need help with. The skid steer, I can do the skid steer jobs pretty much solo and hire a guy here and there on a bigger jobs or whatever. But the lawn maintenance is where you really need someone with skills, that's got weed eater skills, that knows how to move about the property with a purpose and all that there. And during the wintertime, you're not hardly going to find that, because you can't put them in that spot to do the yards, because there's no yards to do. I'm a little bit different than a lot of companies, you know, because I have a skid steer, and and I'm not any better or any worse. I'm just pointing out the facts. Since I have a skid steer, and I like doing bigger work, then that's what I do, to keep my overhead really low. But the notion that guys like me, and I can't speak for nobody else, but guys like me with, you know, solo, one guy operation, you know, the notion that the notion that I hire somebody and expect them to you know, expect them to work out is pretty slim. I don't expect them to work out. I don't even expect them to. I don't. Not for the most part. Especially when they haven't worked out here not one day yet. I'm not even thinking about, you know, longevity or anything. Let's just see how they do in 1 day or 2 days or whatever, you know. That's just, you know, my take and my thinking on some of the comments, because you can't, I mean, I just treat everybody like day labor until they show that they're more than that. And I tell them that when guys come on out here, I don't promise them anything other than what I'll pay them. And I'll tell them flat out, yeah, I might have some part-time work for you, you know, and then we'll let them come out and do some of the part-time work. But everybody's not set up like me. I don't have a lot of work to do, busy work to do this time of year. It's all methodical type work with skid steer or whatever. And since the skid steer, you know, pays so much more money, I don't have to do a whole lot of jobs either. I mean, I could literally do 3 jobs a month and make more than I do in the lawn maintenance. Yeah, 3 jobs. You're talking about maybe a week of work for the whole month to make just as much profit as I would doing the lawn maintenance. And I don't have to have no labor, which is a headache more than you might think. I know people say it's me and blah blah, but if you're coming in my comments and you're saying, and you're saying, well, nobody hires anybody without putting them on payroll, well, I choose to differ, because at the end of the day, it's about time management too. And if I got to go through the rigmarole of putting somebody on paper, you know, when they're clearly not even going to be able to do the job, why would I waste my time doing all that? I'm not. And, you know, even though most guys might not come on YouTube and say that, I will, because that's the truth, you know. So, I couldn't imagine if you did that with everybody. And like I was telling, you know, Chad yesterday, I talked to him, me and Chad talked on the phone, or Miss Chet texted. I was telling him, you know, man, the same thing I said in the video. You gotta, I mean, you can't be a straight square and be dealing with crooked ass help. You gotta kind of get in the ditch with them a little bit. I'm just saying, you do. And I'm not saying do anything illegal or nothing, but I'm just saying that the labor's gonna lie to you. They're gonna lie about their experience, and I'm not saying every single last one of them, but in my experience with the type of guys I got at where I live at, with the type of work that I do, most of the guys that come out here, they are way gone, as far as a lot of them ain't never even had a job for longer than a month. So I think with Chad, him going through a few guys, you know, this off season, that he well, it makes Justin more valuable, because we see, Chad sees, I see, everybody sees, you know, that getting a guy out here that knows what he's doing is few and far between, and that can jump through all the hoops, you know. And it's not really hoops to mainstream society. It's hoops when you look at it from my viewpoint, because it's always a factor, and it's a big factor. The factors are, they lie about what they know how to do or not. They lie about the experience they got. They don't have a driver's license. They don't have a vehicle. A lot of times it's both of them. No ride and no vehicle. And you can always tell, even without even telling, if they're lying or not. Like, I had a guy out here, and some of you guys have been watching the channel for a minute, y'all will remember him. His name is Wade. Good worker. Oh my God, I love me some Wade, man. He was great, man. You know, and I brought him out here. He could run the mowers. He did. I mean, he did pretty good. You know, he's ready to go to work every day. But one drawback is, and he wasn't honest about it, is he did not have a driver's license. Of course, he never told me he did not have a driver's license. He just never could produce one. And then when you look at all the other little things, okay, where are they living at? Oh, they're living back at home at mom's on the couch. Now, okay, nothing wrong with, you know, having to go back to mom's and you know, reset. I get it. I did it a couple times, you know, when I was coming up. But when you hear somebody say, yeah, I'm sleeping on the couch at mom's, that means, you know, that's not, that was not, he's not been living there long. And it also, and if he has been living like that long, then that tells you he's not motivated hardcore either to get out of that situation. See, whenever I went back home, I did it when I was like, well, why did I go back home? Because I wanted to buy a house. I was so sick. So I went back home in my late 20s. I wanted to buy a house. And I was so sick and tired of paying rent. And I knew that if I continued on that rent thing, that I was going to eventually be now and not own nothing and not have nothing and still be out all that money for rent. So I know what it's like to be on mama's couch. But I wasn't there long, and there was a method to the madness, if you will. See, that guy that was out here with me that never could produce his driver's license, he I mean, and he never did say, yeah, he's got license or not, you know. He never did say that. And he was out here about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And at first it didn't really matter because he was in the truck with me. But then when it came time for him to you know, training was over and it was time for him to start, you know, working, you know, actually earning the money that I'm paying him, you know, because I pay, you know, because as long as he was in the truck with me, I'm paying him as if he's not, as if he is going to be driving the other truck, because that was the job description, was to drive the other truck. Come out here for 3 or 4 weeks, I'll train you, we'll do every property a couple times, and then I'll assign you properties to do in the other truck. So I don't know if that dude, you know, was thinking that he was going to be able to drive my other truck without a license or what. I don't know. But but he never could produce the license, and since he never could produce them, then I never let him drive the other truck. And but then you know, there comes a point in time where I realized that, well, he's just playing games, and he's still getting, you know, truck driving money, you know, that I'm paying him to be in the truck with me, because that was the job description when he came on. I'll take a hit for the first few weeks, show you everything, and I'll pay the same thing I'm going to be paying you when you get in the other truck. And that and never came to pass. He never did. I had to fire him because I couldn't trust nothing he was saying, and I was picking him up and all that too. So, you know, and it wasn't nothing personal. I liked the dude, I did. But he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to grow up. He wasn't ready to get out of the situation he was in. He wasn't ready. Well, Ray, you can't tell nobody what to do when they off time. If he wants to sleep on mama's couch, you can. That's true. You can. But if you perpetually are doing that and you're not trying to get off of that couch, then that says something about you. And you know, if you built like that and you're okay with that, you're probably not going to last out here with me, because I'm not okay with, you know, half-ass and all that, you know. So, biggest thing is he wouldn't be honest with me. He never was honest with me. He never did. I mean, he lost his job behind that. So what does that mean? That means he didn't have a license. That's what that means. Why would you lose your job? I said, look, I finally just told him, I said, look, man, you got to produce your driver's license. You're not going to be able to work out here no more. And he said, okay. And then the very next day, I'm texting him saying, hey, man, so I'm going to need to see your driver's license. And he says, yeah, he never really answered the question. So he lost his job. Not that working for me is great or nothing. I had to fire him. And I didn't fire him because he didn't have a license. I fired him because he kept lying about it. And I couldn't, you know, okay, you don't have a license, and you're a good worker, and you've been out here for 3 or 4 weeks, and you are, you know, able to do the work, and you're willing, and all those things. But you lying to me. And when really, if he had just told me the truth, I probably, especially after about 3 or 4 weeks, I probably would have helped him get his license back. And yes, it's self-serving because I need a driver that has been in the truck with me, that kind of knows the properties a little bit. The thing about it is, so it goes back to that time thing. So that whole month that he was in the truck with me is a waste of time when I could have had somebody else out here and paid them the same thing, the same everything, but they got a license. So then I had to start all back over from scratch after, 3 or 4 weeks of him being out here, playing games and making good money too. So when I sit back and I think about all the guys that I've had out here, and I think about all the little, games that I've seen and they have played, it's freaking ludicrous, man. It is. It's unbelievable. I need to do a spot video where I go back into all my old videos and I pull clips of each guy that's worked out here with me and put it all in one and put it in a 15-minute clip. To let you guys, to remind you guys of the guys that I've had out here and the terms in which they left or got fired. Most of the time, they'll get fired because I pay so good. They don't, now that they'll set themselves up to get fired, but rarely does a guy come out here. I mean, it's happened, but rarely does a guy come out here and work a day or two and then quit. What he'll do is he'll work a day or two and then he'll have a no call, no show, and then he'll call me the very next day wanting to come back to work. That kind of thing. They're not ballsy enough to just quit. They don't want to because the money's too good. They make me fire them. So, I can't remember a time when I've had a guy quit me because of how much money he was making. I can't remember, not one. I can't remember one. But I'm gonna go in here in Home Depot.